From the moment Prince Harry announced another major keynote engagement, this time stepping onto a Toronto stage as the headline speaker for the Ontario Real Estate Association's Powerhouse Conference, the noise machine of the British tabloids erupted like it always does, angry, confused, bitter, and weirdly obsessed with a man who wants nothing more than to live freely with his wife and children. And as always, the louder they scream, the more it exposes the truth. Prince Harry succeeds, thrives, and grows, while his bitter critics remain chained to the past, drowning in their own irrelevance. What we are witnessing right now, especially with this Toronto keynote, is not a scandal, not a crisis, not some dramatic failure like the tabloids pretend. No. What we are witnessing is Prince Harry owning his identity on the world stage. He is choosing the path of global leadership on his terms, not on the institution's terms, not under the suffocating control of courtiers, and absolutely not under the manipulative lens of the British press. Harry is building a legacy based on independence, authenticity, and real service. But instead of acknowledging that, the Daily Mail and its little group of royalist relics are panicking, because the man they tried to bury is now speaking louder than ever. The moment Richard Eden breathlessly reported that Harry would be paid for a speech, as if that's not what every global figure does, the clown show began. Overnight, newspaper headlines acted like Harry had done something disgraceful, when in reality all he's done is what Barack Obama does, what Michelle Obama does, what Oprah Winfrey does, what Bill Clinton does, what actors, CEOs, musicians and experts have been doing for literal decades. Accepting paid speaking engagements isn't controversial. It's normal. It's respectable. It's a sign of demand, influence and respect. But somehow, when Harry does it, the whole royalist ecosystem bursts into flames. And then Eden, doing what he always does, ran to a self-appointed old Etonian, someone clinging to his school days with the desperation of a man whose relevance ended the moment he graduated. This individual supposedly laughed about Harry not being incisive enough to speak about real estate. But isn't it funny how the very people criticizing Harry's intellect are the ones who haven't achieved even a fraction of what he has? These men have never delivered a UN speech. They've never created an international multi-city sporting event for wounded veterans. They've never built a global brand with millions of supporters. They've never done a fraction of the philanthropic work Harry has. But they sure can mock. Because mocking is easier than achieving. Let's talk about something even more revealing. These same people didn't say a word when Harry spoke at the United Nations last year. They didn't say a word when he addressed the Clinton Global Initiative. They didn't say a word when world leaders praised his work on mental health, veterans advocacy and humane leadership. But the moment he's paid for a speech, suddenly the saltiness rises like the tide. The truth is crystal clear. The British media don't hate that Harry is giving a speech. They hate that he no longer needs them. They hate that he no longer asks the palace for permission. They hate that he doesn't require taxpayer money. They hate that he took the power they denied him and transformed it into freedom. And then we get to the most insulting claim of the entire article. The line about Harry and Meghan giving up their message of service and leadership when they step down as working royals. Let's pause. Let's breathe. Let's unpack that. Because the arrogance buried inside that statement is unbelievable. According to these royal sources, only the monarchy, an institution built on privilege, inherited power and zero accountability, can provide service. According to them, service is only legitimate if it's performed under the control of the Crown. And leadership? Apparently that too only counts if you're wearing a tiara on state occasions or reading speeches written by palace aides. Harry and Meghan have shown the world that leadership is not confined to Buckingham Palace. That service is not defined by titles, crowns, or press photographers. That compassion, humanitarian work and advocacy can be performed by anyone, not just the chosen few born into the right family. Harry and Meghan didn't give up service. They redefined it. They expanded it. They liberated it from the palace walls, and more importantly, they separated service from spectacle. Look at the Invictus Games, a project Harry built from scratch, a project that exists outside the monarchy, a project that has changed lives across the globe. Look at the Archewell Foundation, with its focus on community healing, mental health, disaster relief, parental support, and digital safety. Look at Meghan's initiatives promoting women's empowerment, maternal health, voter participation, and inclusive storytelling. Compare that to the empty ribbon-cutting, carefully choreographed charity appearances and PR-driven work done by some of the senior royals. It's not even close. And let's address the constant obsession with money. The media try to imply that Harry is giving speeches to earn dollars because Meghan's projects haven't done enough financially. This is laughable and also deeply misogynistic. Meghan has built multiple successful businesses, secured multi-million-dollar deals, launched best-selling products, and continues to grow her brand with extraordinary momentum. The Sussexes have Netflix, Spotify history, Archewell productions, books, endorsements, and global partnerships. They're not struggling, they're not desperate, they are not scrambling for pennies. But even if they were working to increase revenue, isn't that what adults do? Isn't that what responsible parents do? Isn't that what anyone outside the monarchy does? Harry and Meghan have built a life grounded in self-sufficiency. They didn't wait for the British taxpayer. They didn't depend on handouts. They didn't cling to the public purse. That's what the monarchy should celebrate to be. But instead, the press treats their independence like a threat. Because it is a threat to a system that relies on dependence, a system that punishes independence, a system that resents freedom. Especially when that freedom is chosen by someone who was supposed to remain under their control. And let's absolutely break down the comparison to William. According to the Daily Mail, William gave a powerful speech to world leaders at COP30. A speech so powerful, so earth-shattering, that no one remembered it. No media frenzy, no global applause, no quotes going viral, no notable impact. In fact, UK reporters tried so hard to avoid talking about William's speech because they knew how embarrassing it was. Empty words, stiff delivery, flat messaging. Meanwhile, Harry's upcoming speech, which hasn't even happened yet, is already receiving more articles, more attention, more traffic, and more outrage than William's entire COP30 appearance. That says everything. Harry's presence has weight. It has cultural power. It draws eyes. It moves audiences. It shapes narratives. William, on the other hand, is struggling publicly and privately, weighed down by responsibilities he isn't prepared for, and forced into roles he can't fulfill without being propped up by the very media that trashes his brother. And it's telling that the press now talks about Kate's speech as if it was a triumphant moment, when in reality it was her first speech in 2 years. Not 2 months, not 2 quarters, 2 years. Meghan did more than that in a single month while on maternity leave. But the British media will twist anything to make Kate appear hard-working and Harry and Meghan appear lazy. The contradiction exposes their bias every single time. And this article proves one thing: Harry and Meghan terrify the establishment, because they're showing the world what it looks like when two former royals live unrestricted, unmanipulated, and unfiltered. They're showing the world what happens when the Crown loses control of the narrative. They're proving that kindness, empathy, hard work, and authenticity win. Not titles. The Toronto keynote is not about real estate. It's about leadership. It's about global relevance. It's about influence. It's about continuing a journey that Harry and Meghan began the moment they walked out of Kensington Palace. The journey of becoming the authors of their own story. And that is what their detractors fear the most. So while the tabloids stay mad, while the royal sources stay pressed, while the haters stay loud, Harry will walk onto that Toronto stage with confidence. Meghan will continue to build her empire with elegance, and the Sussexes will continue proving day after day why they remain the most influential modern royals on earth, even when they aren't working as royals at all. And to everyone watching, stay tuned, because the Sussexes aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. Thank you for watching. Thank you for standing with Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan. And if you want to support the channel, remember, you can always send a super thanks and help us keep shining light on the truth the tabloids try to bury.